When Sarah moved into her new apartment, she was grateful to find a friendly face next door. Mr. Jensen, an older man in his late 60s, lived alone and seemed genuinely kind. He welcomed her with a plate of homemade cookies and offered to help if she ever needed anything. Over time, he became a comforting presence, always greeting her with a smile, offering to carry her groceries, even watering her plants while she was away. He'd often linger at the door, making small talk about the weather or the local news. One evening, a few weeks after moving in, Sarah was startled by the sudden sound of shattering glass in her kitchen. She had accidentally dropped a heavy dish, and before she could even process what happened, there was a knock on her door. It was Mr. Jensen, his face lined with concern. "I heard something break. Dear, are you all right?" he asked, already stepping inside before she could answer. He insisted on helping her clean up, his movements oddly familiar with the layout of her kitchen, as if he'd been there before. When she thanked him and tried to usher him out, he lingered a little too long, his eyes scanning the room with quiet intensity. "I'm just glad you're safe," he said softly before finally leaving, but the encounter left her feeling unsettled. But after a few months, Sarah started noticing small things that didn't add up. Her keys weren't where she left them. Drawers she rarely used were slightly ajar. Picture frames seemed subtly out of place. She dismissed it as forgetfulness, blaming the stress of her new job. Yet, an uneasy feeling grew, a nagging suspicion she couldn't shake. One evening, she came home to find her bedroom window slightly open. She was certain she'd closed it before leaving. The faint scent of Mr. Jensen's aftershave, a distinct old-fashioned aroma of sandalwood and musk, lingered in the air. Feeling uneasy, she decided to install a hidden camera in her living room, just to ease her mind. The next morning, she reviewed the footage. Her heart raced as she watched Mr. Jensen quietly entering her apartment with a spare key, one she never gave him. He moved around with unsettling familiarity, opening drawers, touching her belongings, even standing silently in her bedroom doorway, watching her sleep for several minutes before leaving as quietly as he came. His face was disturbingly calm, almost serene, as if his intrusion was part of his daily routine. Sarah contacted the police immediately. When they searched Mr. Jensen's apartment, they found a collection of her personal items. Small things she hadn't even noticed were missing. A hairbrush, scarf, photos he'd taken without her knowledge, neatly arranged on a table like a shrine. There were even handwritten notes detailing her daily routines, what she wore, who she spoke to, and when she typically left for work. But the most disturbing discovery was yet to come. Tiny hidden cameras, meticulously placed inside her apartment, including one cleverly concealed inside her wall clock and another behind a vent in her bedroom. They had been recording her most private moments without her ever realizing it. Mr. Jensen was arrested, but the real horror for Sarah wasn't just what he'd done. It was knowing how close he had been all along, hiding behind a friendly smile, watching her life unfold piece by piece as if it belonged to him. Weeks after his arrest, just as Sarah began to feel a fragile sense of safety returning, she received an unmarked envelope in the mail. Inside was a single photograph. It was her, sitting on her couch, taken from outside her window. The timestamp was from the night before.